In one tiny Florida town, people were literally hacking off their own limbs just to collect insurance money. While you're worrying about your bills, these people chose amputation for a paycheck. But is that the weirdest thing on this list? Wait until you see the 7-story alien lab under New Mexico. Imagine walking into a tiny Florida town and noticing that 1 out of every 10 people is missing an arm or a leg. That was Vernon, Florida in the 60s, and it wasn't some freak accident or disease. It turns out the whole town was in on a grisly insurance scam. See, the local economy had completely tanked, and people were desperate. It started when one guy actually lost a limb and got a huge payout. Suddenly, everyone else wanted in. They were literally shooting off their own feet or hacking off their hands just to collect a check. At one point, this one tiny town accounted for 2/3 of all amputation claims in the entire US. One guy even showed up to the hospital with a tourniquet in his pocket. He claimed it was for snake bites, but everyone knew the truth. They called it Nub City. Believe it or not, nobody ever went to jail because juries just couldn't believe someone would do that to themselves. The insurance companies eventually just gave up and stopped selling policies there entirely, which makes you wonder, how did people back then just see a neighbor missing a leg and think, yeah, that looks like a great way to get rich? Imagine waking up one day to find out that your new home is basically a giant flying saucer. Back in the 40s, this was actually a thing. It was called the Dymaxion house. This genius little trick used airplane parts to build cheap, round homes for veterans. It was legit a game changer. It weighed only 3 tons and cost way less than a normal house. But here's the kicker. Even though 30,000 people tried to buy one, only 2 were ever built. The investors fought, the factories were too expensive, and the whole dream just crashed. Now it's just a weird museum piece. Be honest, is living in a roundhouse a total deal breaker for you, or would you actually try it? Ever seen a house that's completely, utterly alone? Get this, this place sits on a tiny island off Iceland. No neighbors, no electricity, just thousands of puffins. For years, people swore it was a secret bunker for a billionaire. Others said the singer Björk owned it to hide from the world. Turns out it's not a mansion or a hideout at all. It was built in 1953 as a simple hunting lodge. To get there, you've got to boat over and literally scale a cliff. There's no plumbing, just a sauna and the freezing Atlantic wind. But honestly, it's kind of a vibe. Would you rather spend a week here for free, or is this the creepiest place on Earth? Let me know what you think below. Would you rather spend a week here for free, or is this the creepiest place on Earth? Be honest. Imagine living in a town where the government basically doesn't exist. No property taxes, no water bills, and 0 power lines. Get this, it's right in the middle of the California desert. It's called Slab City, built on an old abandoned military base. If you want to live there, you just show up. You find a patch of dirt, set up a trailer, and you're home. But here's the kicker. There's no running water. People share one communal shower fed by a hot spring. For electricity, you've got to find a guy named Solar Mike. In the winter, thousands of nomads flock there for the vibes. But in summer, it hits 120 degrees and most people bail. It's been called the last free place in America. But it turns out the state might finally shut it down. Imagine a place where... Would you rather live in a lawless desert paradise for free, or keep paying $3,000 rent for a tiny city apartment? Honestly, I'm torn. You've been planning your Yellowstone trip all wrong, and it's actually kind of sketchy. Look, you don't need a reservation to get in. But you legit need to bring bear spray. Seriously, keep at least 100 yards from the grizzlies. But here's the kicker. The ground is literally trying to kill you. Stay on those boardwalks. People have actually died because the crust is thin. And the water underneath is boiling. It's wild. Also, don't expect any cell service. Download the Park app before you lose signal. And pack a winter jacket, even in July, because the weather there is a total toss-up. Good luck out there. Am I the only one who's terrified of those boiling hot springs? Or are you guys brave enough to walk the boardwalks? Let me know. Imagine you're camping in -20 degrees, and something scares you so bad you rip open your tent and sprint into the dark in just your underwear. That's basically what happened to 9 experienced hikers at Dyatlov Pass in 1959. Get this, when the search party showed up, the tent was sliced open from the inside. The hikers' footprints led a mile away into the woods. But here's the kicker. No other tracks were found. Some of them had crushed ribs like they'd been hit by a car. And one girl was missing her tongue and her eyes. Oh, and their clothes? Turns out they were covered in radiation for 60 years. People blamed everything from secret weapons to a Russian Yeti. Scientists now think it was a freak avalanche. But that doesn't explain the missing facial tissue or the orange skin. We might never know what made them run, which is why it's terrifying to imagine. If you heard a terrifying sound outside your tent in the middle of nowhere, are you cutting your way out and running, or staying put? Let me know below. Imagine waking up one day to find out that you live in Oymyakon. This place is legit the coldest inhabited spot on Earth. We're talking average winter temps of -58 degrees. It's so wild that if you walked outside naked, you'd basically freeze to death in 1 minute. But here's the kicker. Schools here don't even think about closing unless it hits -60. People actually leave their cars running overnight just so the engines don't seize up. To stay warm, they drink vodka and eat frozen horse blood. It sounds totally sketchy, but 500 people call this frozen tundra home. Be honest, is the promise of a high salary a total deal breaker for you, or would you move here for the money? Imagine waking up one day to find out that history books are just wrong. For decades, experts thought Scotland's man-made islands, called Crannogs, were only 2,000 years old. But then, a diver found some pottery that changed everything. It wasn't just old, it was Neolithic. We're talking over 5,000 years old. But here's the kicker. These weren't just random piles of rock, they were massive wooden platforms built by ancient seafarers from the Mediterranean. It's legit mind-blowing that these structures survived underwater for millennia. It basically proves our ancestors were way more advanced than we ever gave them credit for. Be honest, would you spend a night on a 5,000-year-old island in the middle of a lake? Or is that a total deal breaker for you? Imagine waking up one day to find out your town is banning smartphones. This is the sketchy story of Jeff Flowers. He's a councilman in Bandera, Texas. His colleagues just voted to ban surveillance cameras. Jeff didn't take it well. He basically had a total meltdown. But here's the kicker. He's now trying to outlaw all GPS and cellular devices. He even wants to kill the internet and go back to paper ledgers. He literally said the town is going back to 1880, for real. He thinks if you want privacy, you should just leave your phone at the city line. That is wild. Be honest, is a total tech ban a total deal breaker for you, or would living like it's 1880 actually be a vibe? Imagine you're driving down a pitch-black Pennsylvania road and your headlights hit a man with literally no face. People called him the Green Man, and for 50 years, everyone thought he was some kind of glowing ghost. But here's the kicker. He was actually just a guy named Raymond, who wanted a little peace. When Ray was 8, he climbed a bridge to check out a bird's nest and touched a live wire. 11,000 volts surged through him. He survived, but he lost his eyes, his nose, and most of his arm because people would stare and point. He stayed inside all day and only went for walks in the middle of the night. Turns out, that eerie green glow was just the headlights hitting his jacket. Some locals were nice and brought him beer, but others would pick him up, just to drop him off in the middle of nowhere as a joke. He just wanted to feel the night air on his face. Imagine being that cruel. This is why you're driving down a pitch-black Pennsylvania road. How did people back then see a man who clearly went through a tragedy and decide to turn him into a horror movie monster? Let me know what you think below. Imagine an entire town just packed up and left, not because of a war, but because of a monster. That's what went down in Portlock, Alaska. Officially, folks moved out in the 1950s because a new highway made the town kinda useless. But here's the kicker, the real reason. According to local legends, was the Nanti Enoch basically a super scary killer Bigfoot. Its name even means those who steal people. For real, people started seeing these giant 18-inch footprints. Then in the 30s, a logger named Andrew Kamluck died mysteriously. They found him 10 feet from some heavy logging gear that no human could lift. Cannery workers just vanished too. One body even turned up mutilated in a lagoon. Neighbors were just straight up terrified. One by one, they cleared out. So, they left because of a new road. Or because something hairy was messing with them. What do you think really happened here? If you found a creature like Nantiinak in your town, are you packing your bags or grabbing a camera to find it? Tell me. Imagine checking into a hotel where the name literally means Hotel of the Leap. This is Hotel del Salto in Colombia, and it's basically as dark as it sounds. It sits right on the edge of a cliff where people have been jumping for centuries. Legend says the local Muisca people would leap off to escape invaders, turning into eagles mid-air to fly away. But for everyone else, it didn't turn out so well. The place became a magnet for people who didn't want to be found. Guests reported hearing voices in languages nobody spoke anymore, and one room was the site of a messy murder that supposedly cursed the halls. Between the apparitions and the toxic, rotting smell of the river below, the hotel finally shut down in the 90s. It's a museum now, but here's the kicker. They make sure every single tourist is out by 5 p.m. sharp, because when the fog rolls in at night, you really don't want to be there. How did people back then see a hotel where everyone keeps jumping and think, yeah, that looks like a relaxing vacation spot? So, there's this tiny town in New Mexico called Dulce, no traffic lights, under 3,000 people. But get this, it's supposedly sitting right on top of a 7-story alien laboratory. It all kicked off back in the 70s when a state trooper found some cattle. They were, well, totally messed up, missing organs and weird hybrids. He even found gas masks nearby, so he knew it wasn't just a coyote. Then this engineer, Phil Schneider, shows up with a wild story. He claimed he helped dig the base and got into a gunfight with aliens. He even lost his fingers in the blast. He said Floor 6 is the absolute worst. They call it Nightmare Hall. That's where the genetic experiments and the screams happen. Believe it or not, locals say they see UFOs every single week. And it all happens right under this quiet little town. If you found out your tiny hometown was sitting on a secret alien base, would you stay for the drama or pack your bags immediately?